The anime starts off with an intriguing depiction of a war zone where armed soldiers are fighting off an onslaught of goblin monsters, which hints at the overarching conflict of the story. The scene then cuts to the introduction of the main character, Youji Itami, a 33-year-old self-proclaimed otaku who works his job in Tokyo to support his hobby. He takes the subway train, heading to an important event, a doujinshi sale and exhibit. How relatable. Lost in his thoughts, Itami bumps his head on a pillar as he gets off the train and catches glimpses of 3 young women, an elf with long blonde hair, a sorcerer with big curious eyes, and most importantly, a gothic Lolita. What does this vision mean? Meanwhile, something truly bizarre happens. A giant structure resembling a gate appears in the middle of the city and a dragon flies out of it. It isn't long before an entire army, straight out of a fantasy RPG game, consisting of knights, goblins, dragons, and many other monsters, comes through the gate and wreaks havoc on the city. No one stands a chance against this slaughter fest. Even the police seem helpless, their pistols doing nothing but scratching the armor of the knights. In the midst of this chaos, Itami rises to the occasion, standing up to the attackers, intensely focused on his singular goal, to prevent the cancellation of the summer doujinshi exhibit. Itami goes toe-to-toe with an attacking knight, tackling him and finishing him off using his own dagger. The frightened citizens are given shelter within the imperial palace, and Itami, along with the police force, guards the entrance, standing firm on their ground. The strong artillery of Japan's military deals a decisive blow to the attacking monsters, breaking their formation and pushing them back. For Itami's heroics during the attack, he is awarded commendation and appointed as a second lieutenant in the military. Itami doesn't seem all that pleased with this outcome. However, he finds a friend in Kurata, a fellow soldier in the military force who shares Itami's interests. The government of Japan decides that the best course of action now is to send their forces beyond the gate to explore the special region and attempt negotiations with their attackers. 3 months later, Itami, along with a battalion of soldiers, is dispatched to scout beyond the gate. We are given our first glimpse of the ruler of the special region beyond the gate, Emperor Molt. There is unrest in the imperial court of the special region due to their helplessness against the artillery of the Japanese self-defense force, which has already taken control of the gate and begun to set up a base around it. The emperor declares that, with the help of their neighboring states, they will form a strong imperial army to fight against the Japanese self-defense force and recapture Arnis Hill, the hill around the gate. We are introduced to King Durin, a commander from the Herb clan, who seems hesitant about this battle. During the morning of the battle, the imperial army goes missing, and the present forces of the allied kingdom are ruthlessly bombarded by the Japanese self-defense force, with all of their offensive attempts being eviscerated. Durin swears vengeance on the Japanese self-defense force and declares that he will repay them with an arrow. He proposes that the Allied Kingdom's army ambush the Japanese force on the night of the full moon under the cover of darkness. However, the Japanese force is ready for this and stops the ambush attempt dead in its tracks through heavy bombardment by their mounted guns and tanks. The entire kingdom's allied force, along with the defeated Durin, is wiped out. It is revealed that the destruction of the Kingdom Allied forces was anticipated by the Emperor, and he is most thrilled with this outcome, knowing that the surrounding nations' armies have been weakened and no longer pose a threat. He orders his daughter, Princess Pina, to scout the invading armies along with her knight order. On the other side of the hill, the Japanese Defense Force determines that finding information about the people and culture of this region is vital, so they dispatch 6 deep recon teams to investigate the nearby towns of the special region. A reluctant Itami is appointed as the commander of the 3rd Deep Recon Team and is dispatched to gather intel and try to establish a friendly relationship with the townspeople. They arrive at Koda village and quickly establish friendly ties with the village people, who inform them about a settlement in a nearby forest. However, when the recon team reaches the forest, they are shocked to find out that it is being burnt down by a large fire-breathing dragon. The dragon flies away after a while, but the entire forest settlement is burnt to the ground. Although it appears that there were no survivors after the incident, Itami discovers a nearby well. When he tries to draw water from the well, he finds an unconscious girl with long blonde hair and elf ears floating above the water in the well. Itami descends into the well to rescue the unconscious elf girl. Since the elf's entire settlement has been wiped out, Itami declares that they will take her with them as a refugee. He claims that his noble and kind heart is the sole reason for this decision, and it is definitely not because the prospect of traveling with an elf girl interests him and Kurata. The team travels back to Arnis Hill, making a stop at Koda village to inform them of the tragedy that occurred in the nearby forest settlement, and to ask if they can take in the elf girl. However, they refuse, declaring that they cannot take in an elf and that they are going to abandon their village and flee in fear of the fire dragon roaming nearby. At the outskirts of Koda village, we see the house of the wizard Kato, along with his apprentice Lele. Kato is most displeased about having to flee his house and not having enough space on the donkey cart to carry all of his spell books. The master and student duo quickly set off on their cart with the help of some floating magic to lighten the weight of all Kato's spell books. It may not be the noblest use of magic, but desperate times call for desperate measures. The two are quickly stopped in their tracks because the axle of one of the horse carts ahead breaks, halting the evacuation of the villagers and wounding a young girl who was riding the cart. Itami's recon team rushes to the occasion to solve this crisis. Lele is intrigued and goes to check the commotion. While trying to help the little girl, Lele is about to be attacked by the distressed horse, but Itami's team quickly shoots it down. Lele feels grateful to Itami's team for saving her. Later, we see that a group of bandits are planning to take over the helpless people of Koda village and overthrow the regional lord, aiming to take control of one village at a time. Unbeknownst to them, they have a deadly girl on their trail, Rory Mercury, who claims to be an apostle to the dark god. She effortlessly slices through them with her giant scythe, with the full moon serving as a glorious backdrop as she delivers righteous judgment. Meanwhile, Itami's team is escorting the people of Koda village as they try to flee as far away from the fire dragon as possible, without a specific destination in mind. Along the way, they encounter Rory, who stands menacingly in their path with a flock of crows by her side. Itami and Kurata are overjoyed by this fateful encounter with a gothic Lolita. The people of Koda village appear to have complete trust in Rory, referring to her as the Oracle and treating her with respect. The villagers inform her about Itami's team, piquing her curiosity about their vehicles. Stating that she must have a ride, Rory gets in the driver's seat, sitting on top of a struggling Itami, while Kurata watches with frustrating envy. As they march forward, the giant fire dragon suddenly appears and ruthlessly attacks the villagers. With some help from the elf girl and Rory, Itami's team is able to fend off the attacking dragon by sufficiently damaging it with their guns and missile launcher. With the dragon matter resolved, the people of Koda village can finally move on and find refuge elsewhere. However, some village children and elders, who have nowhere to go, are left with Itami's team, including the elf girl, Lele, and Rory. Rory takes them in and declares that they will finally head back to Arnis Hill. The background of the elf girl, Tuca Luna Marso, is revealed. She lost her father, who saved her during the dragon's attack on her settlement. Now she is under the care of Itami's squad. In the nearby towns and villages, rumors of Itami and his squad fending off the fire dragon spread like wildfire, and quickly reach Princess Pina, who is undercover with her Nite Order as they pursue their mission to reach Arnis Hill. Itami's squad, along with the refugees in their care, finally arrives at the Japanese Self-Defense Forces base at Arnis Hill. Itami's squad is permitted to take in the refugees on humanitarian grounds, and the military higher-ups see this as a political opportunity to establish friendly relations with the people of the Special Zone. Itami is ordered to take care of the refugees and attend to their needs. They begin construction to build houses for the refugees, so they can finally settle in and go on with their lives. The refugee girls enjoy a relaxing bath and have a heart-to-heart moment, discussing their situations. It is revealed that King Durin is still alive, but he has lost an arm and a leg. Princess Pina finds him in recovery, and he informs her about the Emperor's devious plan to use the Japanese self-defense force to wipe out the Allied army. Her resolve to visit Arnis Hill and uncover the truth grows stronger. At Arnis Hill, it becomes apparent that Tuca has not yet moved on from her father's death, still clinging to false hope of his return. Meanwhile, Tuca and the refugees begin to feel like a burden to the Japanese self-defense force and desire to find a way to make a living for themselves. Itami helps them by informing them of a nearby battlefield where thousands of dragons lay dead after the battle between the Imperial and Allied armies against the Japanese self-defense force. He instructs them to collect the dragon scales from the remains and trade them to earn a living. Itami's squad, along with Lele and Rory, reassure and comfort Tuca as they set out to sell the scales. Itami's recon squad heads to the nearby town of Italica so that the refugees can try to sell the dragon scales. However, on their way, they notice smoke billowing from the town. Italica is under attack by armed bandits who are remnants of the Allied forces. Princess Pina and her soldiers engage in a battle with the bandits, and the town falls into disarray. Princess Pina, born to the Emperor's concubine, has always felt undervalued by her father. She formed her Nite Order to prove herself to the Emperor, but her knights were never seen as worthy by the king. They were always kept off the battlefield and relegated to the role of honor guards meant to stand on the sidelines. However, with Arnis Hill, she and her Nite Order are presented with an opportunity to engage in a real battle for the first time, and she cannot allow her Nite Order to fail. As she defends Italica from the attacking bandits, Princess Pina is surprised to come across Itami's squad, along with Lele, Rory, and Tuka attempting to enter Italica. Could this group potentially be an ally that proves to be of great use to Pina's mission? Ignoring the risks, Pina decides to open the town's gates, welcoming the mysterious bunch inside. However, with the town under siege, the trading of dragon scales becomes impossible. So, Itami's squad joins forces with Princess Pina to defend Italica and repel the attacking bandits. Due to her distrust of the Japanese self-defense force, Pina assigns Itami's squad to guard the south entrance of the town, as that's where the enemy's forces are concentrated. However, the bandits execute a surprise attack from the east gate, catching Pina's forces off guard and quickly breaching the defenses of Italica. How will the princess respond? The Japanese self-defense force prepares to send reinforcements in response to Itami's request to aid the battle in Italica. Meanwhile, the bandits have entered the town and begun their invasion. One of Pina's order knights, Norma, falls to the bandits, but she cannot bring herself to call upon Itami's squad for help, as she had intended to use them as bait at the south gate. Overcome with a lust for battle, Rory rushes to join the fight at the east entrance, and Itami's squad follows suit. Rory arrives at the scene just moments before the reinforcements from the Japanese self-defense force. She eliminates their strongest warrior in one fell swoop. Aerial bombardment from the Japanese self-defense force reinforcement unit quickly takes care of the remaining bandits. The invasion of Italica is finally over. However, Princess Pina is disappointed by her helplessness during the battle and fears that the so-called allies of the Japanese self-defense force, whom she formed alliances with during the Battle of Italica, might turn around and imprison her at any moment, taking over the town whenever they wish. Itami takes in 3 bandit refugees, all of whom happen to be beautiful women. Lele and the girls finally sell off the dragon scales to a town merchant, and they make their way back to Arnis Hill. However, an unforeseen threat lies in their way. They are attacked by the Tricolored Rose Knights, and Itami orders his team to run away to avoid a battle to honor the peace treaty. The problem? He gets left behind at the mercy of the Rose Knights. The Knight Order of the Rose works under Pina. They bring a roughed-up Itami back to the princess, but she responds furiously as her own knights violated the peace treaty she signed with Itami's squad. The worst-case scenario is an all-out war by the Japanese self-defense force in response to the capture of their second lieutenant. Itami's squad sneaks into Italica with the help of Tuka, who puts the gate guards to sleep using her magic. Meanwhile, at the mansion of Countess Former, Itami's wounds are taken care of, and he is compensated with the mansion maids at his service. It isn't long before Itami's squad makes their way inside the mansion and finds Itami being pampered by the beautiful maids. Pina is frustrated with Bozes and Panache, the 2 knights of the Rose Order who instigated the attack on Itami. She exclaims that in order to rectify their mistake and gain Itami's favor, they will need to use their bodies. However, as Bozes walks into Itami's room in her lingerie, she is surprised to find his entire squad enjoying an eventful evening with the mansion maids. She feels as though Itami is ignoring her and becomes offended, slapping him across the face. Princess Pina is absolutely distraught over this and requests to be allowed to accompany Itami's team back to Arnis Hill to personally apologize to the commander of the Japanese self-defense force. She meets General Hazama of the Japanese self-defense force and apologizes for the hostility displayed by her knights towards Itami. Tuka is taken through the gate to give a statement as a representative of the special region, with Lele acting as an interpreter. However, Rory, along with Princess Pina and Bozes, invites themselves along. As soon as Pina and the other residents of the empire step outside the gate, they are amazed at the scene before them, the hustling city of modern Tokyo. Everything, from the grand skyscrapers to the technological advancements, seems so otherworldly. Upon stepping outside the gate, Kamikado, an officer from Intel HQ, declares that he is here to escort Itami. He reveals that Itami is not only a ranger but also a special forces agent. Nonetheless, Itami, along with Tuka, Lele, and Rory, heads to a clothing store to get formal wear for Tuka, who will be representing the special zone. As Itami and the others arrive at the Japanese Senate, Princess Pina is taken to a secret room where the advisor for the Prime Minister and an envoy of the Foreign Ministry begin negotiations with her. At the Senate, Diet member Kuhara interviews Itami, along with the 3 girls, trying to blame the Japanese self-defense force for the loss of civilian lives in the special zone during the Fire Dragon's attack. However, she is quickly shut down by Rory, who ruthlessly humiliates her in front of the whole Senate. As soon as the delegation is over, so is Pina's negotiations with the Prime Minister's advisor. The squad leaves on the subway train, attempting to dissuade any pursuers they might have from tracking them. After they get off the subway, Itami goes to visit a girl, heading to her apartment with Rory and the others, and a shocking revelation ensues. The mysterious girl is Itami's ex-wife. Everyone is shocked when they find out about Itami's ex-wife, Risa. Itami and the others hide from their pursuers in Risa's apartment. Risa is an otaku just like Itami and even a doujinshi manga artist. Princess Pina and Bozes discover Risa's BL manga collection and quickly become intrigued by otaku culture. After a peaceful night, Itami declares that they are going to spend the day having fun. He might have missed the summer doujinshi exhibit, but he isn't going to miss the winter one at any cost. Risa and the girls go shopping, and Bozes and Princess Pina go to the library to discover Japan's literature. They want to read more BL manga. The defense minister runs into Itami outside the manga store, and after a friendly chat, orders him to go to their designated inn guarded by the defense force. This special inn is a hot springs inn. Itami and the others enjoy a relaxing time at the hot springs as the Japanese Special Defense Squad guards them. However, the President of the US threatens the Japanese Prime Minister with sensitive political information and asks the Prime Minister to order the defense squad to cease their operation. The Prime Minister reluctantly complies. As the US agents close in on Itami and the others, everyone is passed out drunk, except Rory and Itami. Rory seems quite worked up because of the fighting going on nearby and starts trying to seduce Itami. The sexual tension between Itami and Rory is quickly dispelled as their pursuers find their way right outside the room where they all are. Rory, worked up from the battle which took place nearby, is thirsty for blood and charges at them with her scythe. It is revealed that Itami's squad is being pursued not by one, but 3 different parties: US, Russia, and China's agents. They all open fire on each other in confusion as Rory monstrously slaughters everyone in her path. Itami and the others are left dodging bullets in their room and hiding from the chaos. As the dust settles, Itami and the others flee from the inn. They stop outside a convenience store to catch their breaths and have a bite to eat as morning approaches. Risa posts about the Jinzo Memorial being the Empire visitors' next and final visiting location before they return home on various online forums. This attracts the attention of thousands of excited fans who swarm Jinzo. Itami says goodbye to Risa, and their operation to guard the visiting girls until they cross the gate safely begins. The pursuing agents cut their losses and withdraw. Itami and the girls are given a grand send-off as they head back through the gate and finally return to Arnis Hill after a long tiring vacation. Princess Pina is overwhelmed after seeing the world beyond the gate firsthand and fears that a war against such a force will only lead to the downfall of the empire. So she swears to form a peaceful relationship with Japan and end the war. 5 months have passed since the initial battle between the Japanese Self-Defense Force and the Special Zone. More and more refugees have been gathering on Arnis Hill, turning the refugee camp into a hustling town. Princess Pina, along with the Japanese Foreign Minister's envoy, Sugawara, travels back to the imperial capital to carry out peace negotiations with Japan. Pina seems to be under great stress, with the overwhelming burden of the empire's survival resting on her shoulders. Meanwhile, a strange hooded person is seen approaching Arnis Hill. Pina attends a lunch event organized by Cicero Lamardos, head of an important clan of the empire and a high-ranking Senate member. Pina wants the Empire's Senate to support peaceful relations with Japan, so she tries to persuade Cicero to engage in peace negotiations along with Sugawara. By highlighting the safe return of all Empire prisoners captured during their expedition beyond the gate, Princess Pina and Sugawara hope to convince influential families and Senate members of the Empire to honor the peace negotiations. Meanwhile, back at the Arnis refugee camp, managing the increasing number of refugees has become more challenging. Countess Muia Vitalica has sent her maids to assist at the refugee town, and they have ended up working in the town's bar. Tuka is still unable to accept her father's death and continues to search aimlessly for him throughout the refugee camp day in and day out. Itami and the others are concerned but feel helpless as they sit down for a drink in the bar. Suddenly, the mysterious hooded person reveals herself to be a dark elf and approaches Itami and Rory at the town's bar. She introduces herself as Yaoha Dussi and shows hostility towards Itami, causing him and Rory to quickly flee the bar. Yaoha explains that she is searching for the Green People, referring to the soldiers of the Japanese Self-Defense Force, in order to request their assistance in slaying a wounded fire dragon. Meanwhile, Itami travels to the imperial capital with several Japanese gifts, such as pottery and sake. On the other hand, Yaoha Dussie swears that she will save her clan and rushes to find the green people. The fire dragon had attacked Yaoha's clan, devastating the forest they called home and mercilessly killing every dark elf in its path. The survivors of the clan seek refuge in a hidden cave, but the looming threat of the dragon still remains. In desperation, they entrust their clan's most precious treasure to Yaoha and implore her to seek the assistance of the Japanese self-defense force in vanquishing the dragon once and for all. Currently, Yaoha struggles to communicate her plea to the Japanese self-defense force in the town of Arnis Hill, as they are unable to understand her due to the language barrier. Meanwhile, Lele diligently practices her sorcery under the guidance of her master, displaying remarkable progress as she deepens her understanding of the other world's chemistry knowledge. The Japanese self-defense force seeks Lele's assistance in interpreting Yaoha's words. With Lele's help, Yaoha is finally able to effectively communicate her request to the Japanese self-defense force. But regrettably, they turn down her request. The forest of Yaoha's people lies outside the border of the empire, and the Japanese self-defense force exclaims that they simply cannot cross the border to another country in the special zone without facing serious repercussions. Dejected by her predicament, Yaoha's last hope is to convince Itami to help her, as he might even go against the Japanese self-defense force's orders to help. But Itami is trying to secretly deliver gifts from the imperial nobles when he is discovered by Pina and her Nite order. Among the gifts Itami is trying to deliver is a BL manga sent from Boses for Pina, at least that's what it appears to be. However, inside it is secret intel regarding all of Itami's military feats for Pina to discover. Pina recognizes Itami as a valuable ally, and they both reaffirm their shared objective of achieving peace between the Empire and Japan. But can the Empire truly withstand against the developed nation of Japan? Thank you for watching the recap. Let us know your thoughts on it. I'm out.